So I bought this juicer yesterday after I went in the afternoon to really stiff this morning. I've tried to do the slow motion kind of Pilates sort of ish qigong sort of moves, and I'm still so stiff. Anyway, I'll take my juice and then I'll talk. Boy, those guys, they get so upset. I told them to be quiet, and they're just like, no. So it has a nice little clean way of juicing, which is novel to me because I've been using, my favorite juicer is a Frankenstein creation from a few different broken juicers, and it juices things quickly and does a good job, but it spits things all over the place, so my kitchen wall is interesting. I don't know if I'll ever be able to wash it properly. They're listening now. They're wondering who I'm talking to. See, this works out for me. Like, what's she doing up there? Ugh. Juiced a bit too much. See, that's my other one. It just has a spout. Well, I have a spare one, which I don't like that one. But another one, it just has a spout, and you put the glass under it, and sometimes when you juice, it goes, and the juice is like on the floor or on stuff over. So, but this is all nice and clean and contained, and it juiced great. We tried it yesterday for, did I juice cucumber juice? And it works on the kale. So maybe I'll try some beets with it. Beets are cool to food or to a juicer. So if it'll juice beets, then it juices everything I need it to. And lemons. I'll have to try lemons. I didn't try lemons. I didn't try ginger on it because I did the ginger in my messy machine. Because this way I can just take out the pulp from here and put it in a bag to use later. Anyway, I've varied up my morning routine. I've eaten a couple almonds already. I've counted out a dozen. I don't know how many to eat. Because the kale juice, I'm worried about not absorbing enough of the carotenoids from the kale juice, or the other things. So, I'm having a few nuts. I might vary the type of nuts I have with my morning juice, I don't know. But I think it's a move in the right direction. Because the carotenoids are fat soluble or whatever. So, anyway, I might put off how long my second breakfast is. I don't know. We'll find out. So, I brought this out to show you for a couple of reasons. One, I bought this yesterday, just going out after telling the woman I told her to go to MCC thrift store because, well, that's the thrift store we like the most. But we said you can check any thrift store, they'll have a juicer, and they just about on any given day, if you go check the thrift stores looking for a juicer, you'll find one. Seriously, because I just did. Just because I went. In the late afternoon. I got this just before it was closing. And I told her in the morning so she could have went all day. I said you can buy one usually about $5. Now, it was Thursday yesterday. It's Friday today. It's July 27, 2018. I got 8 hours, 58 minutes sleep. Pretty good. So anyway, so I went Thursday just before they were closing, and their sales, they mark them, the different tags go half price at the beginning of the week. So this is like almost the end of the week. This has been sitting there, half price. It had a green sticker, and green was the half price color. So this had been priced at $6, so I was a little off in the $5. But I got it for $3 because it's a half price, and anybody could have got it all week long for $3 for this juicer. And when I looked at it, I thought, man, this thing is a million years old. Is it gonna work? It works really well. It juiced things without any trouble. If I see this model again, as crazy looking as it looks, and as old as it is, it has this funny handle and stuff. And I tried it last night, and it cleaned up really well. It was pretty easy to clean. Anyway, it's a good juicer. $3. So, another reason I'm saying this. So if you don't get a juicer and you're thinking, oh, I don't have $400 to spend, have you looked at a thrift store? Because they're always there. You have $3 to spend? Seriously, that's what I paid yesterday. Anyway. Now, kale. I just drank kale juice. It was probably, you saw me pour it in, right? Didn't I pour it in front of you this morning? I don't know. So the rest of it was the rest of my stuff that I put in my morning juice, which is really disgusting. The kale is probably the best part of my morning juice, but I don't do kale all the time. I do kale in the summer, and there's a lot of carotenoids in kale. A lot. So to get the full benefit of the kale, I need the fat, so hence the nuts. But in the winter it'll be mostly red cabbage, so I won't have to worry about that part of it as much. But anyway, so now I'm very tired because I just woke up, because this is what I do right when I wake up, is juice. So I may not be very easy to understand, but you can probably tell from the appearance of this machine, it is not a new one. And you can probably think, gee, did they make juicers in the 70s? Because this looks like 70s sort of colors. That's what I'm thinking. Now, so that leads me to ask myself another question, because I know I can make all sorts of food, like soups, whatever, with the pulp, and they look just like, it looks like kale. If I'm using kale pulp in a recipe, it looks just like kale. I could make the same recipe with minced up kale in the food processor, minced up from the juicer, and then put in the food processor to mince it further because I like it, whatever. But I can do that, and really I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. I mean, with the stuff that I haven't extracted the juice from the food processor, I'd have to account for that moisture when I'm making something. So I'd have to monkey with my dry versus wet, right? But for soups you don't, because it's wet. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is, if people have been juicing for this long, then they've probably been making foods with just the pulp rather than the juice for this long. And now, if I were somebody who was very concerned about my own health, but I didn't care about anybody else's, I might look at my juice pulp and go, this is a money-making idea for me. I can make whatever out of my pulp, and I can drink all this nutrients, and who cares about the rest of it? So I could have some soup company or some anything company making pulp. Now, would I have to label it as pulp? Even if I did, would consumers notice? Like I noticed when I was, I had a batch of ginger cookies from Costco given to me. And at the time, I tasted one cookie and I was like, this is very weak ginger. And then I read the ingredients list, and sure enough on there it was, it's interesting to look at the nutrition labels and the ingredient labels, the listings, just to see how they list things. At Costco, they'll put, like, if they have some sort of fancy ingredients, they'll put it in a bracket with loads of other things so that it can get up near the top, rather than be at the bottom, right? So it's in a bracket, so all of these ingredients within the bracket makes up more than one below, but really the one that's right underneath the bracket, there's way more of that than anything inside the bracket. Do you see what I'm saying? Look next time. You will see. I've been looking. Yeah, so anyway, this one day with the cookies, it said, you know how the lists, they go on, right? So it got to the end of the sentence of ginger pulp on the next line, right? And I thought, I bet you they did that on purpose, like monkeyed with the whatever the size of the font or whatever, so that it could be ginger and then pulp, so you're not knowing because if it was ginger pulp on the same line, you'd be like, oh. But anyway, it was pulp, and that's why the ginger cookies didn't taste that much like ginger, because it was pulp. And so in that case it did say, but I wonder, do they have to say, right? And a lot of the times lately I've been noticing the Costco products don't even have an ingredients listing on them when I'm getting them, and I'm like, how can that be? And so then I look on the internet and I'm like, I can't even find an ingredient listing on the internet on their sites. So how is this, right, that they're able to sell these products without the consumer even having the option of looking into what ingredients they're using? It's unreal. Anyway, so I don't know. It makes me wonder how long it's been since people have actually eaten food for the most part when I see things like this, because I think they're probably not getting this. getting this. And yeah, I mean, even if you get fresh produce, like this was fresh, I probably should have drank all this juice right away. That's the thing, you know, when I juice with the other machine, I can just fill my glass and I go, oh, well, I guess I don't need any more kale than that. Now I have this, and it won't have as many nutrients because it's been juiced ahead of time. But it'll certainly have all the calcium and stuff like that. I don't think those things leave. Anyway, oh, I was thinking about it also because I was reading the Unicorn Food book yesterday, which is awesome. And so I was thinking about, wow, you know, when did artificial colorings really become popular? And I think it would have been about the 50s, wouldn't it? Anyway, I'll have to look into it. And thinking about the Green Revolution, all that sort of stuff, right? And I'm just thinking about how recently they've found, it's not that recently, that say if I had a child, all of the toxins that have interfered with my genes are then passed on to my child, right? And so basically the sins of the parents are then visited on the children, right? And yeah, it's just, it's I don't know how long it's been since we've really eaten food, you know, as much as we might try today. I mean, a lot of the time, like this time, this kale was fresh and local, and so I would have gotten quite a few of the nutrients out of it. But most of the time, if you're buying kale, where's it coming from? And how long has it been since it's been harvested to when you are consuming it? So are you really just basically eating pulp anyway? Even if you think you're buying fresh produce from the grocery store, is it fresh or has it lost its nutritional value by the time it's reached you? And then if you look back at it even further, I mean, how much nutritional value did it have in the first place? Because when breeders are breeding new varieties, for a long time, it's been like, if people say, oh, GMOs, well, they could breed something that's really high in vitamin C or really high in, okay, but one, would it be healthy anyway if it was unbalanced, whatever? That doesn't matter. But the fact of the matter is, they don't breed for that. That it has not been what they've bred for. They have not bred for that. So why would we expect they would all of a sudden? They have not. That is not what they breed for. They breed for ease of shipping. So like a thicker pith or something, so that it can bounce around, or ease of harvesting, right? So that the fruit or vegetables aren't damaged when they're harvested, or different things like that will make the product more saleable, or saleable for longer, or easier to process. So anyway, these things are seen as benefits to the producers or to the processors, but when you breed one thing, one benefit into, then you have shortcomings in other areas. And that can be, it often is, disease or insect resistance or whatever. And then you have to use more pesticides, and then that's in the produce, and then, anyway. Juicer that looks like it's from the 70s, that is still working, still great, $3. And yeah, gets you thinking.